Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Andy McDowell, who's a life, leadership, and small business coach and founder of Generate Your Value. Andy, welcome to the program.
Appreciate the invite, Mike, and it's a pleasure to have a conversation to hopefully bring some value to yourself as well as your listeners today.
Yeah, so we'll generate some of that value that you focus on. So I like your progression of life, leadership, and small business coach. So we'll get into how that progression comes to life. But give us a little bit of background on your entrepreneurial journey to this point.
So entrepreneurship has many different looks and feels, if you will, right? So I start off as an employee of an entrepreneur. A small 15-person company that helped cellular companies place their towers when they were first getting started. And then they were acquired by a division of Boeing. So I went from the smallest of companies to one of the biggest of companies, and I was asked to build a business from scratch within Boeing. So I was an entrepreneur within a corporation. Then after 22 years with them, I was one of the thousands that was laid off for the 737 crisis and decided to go follow my passion and purpose in life and became, as you mentioned, a life leadership and small business coach and became an entrepreneur myself. So I've been in three different ways and looks of an entrepreneurship, and it's sort of been my life.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to see, like, when you pick up things and learn them along the way and you go, okay, well, how can I, kind of mold this clay on this sculpture and build on this and enhance that? And then you're like, okay, well, now how can I give back? So how did that lead into you creating your firm and now working with clients on creating value?
Well, life is a journey, and the hero of the journey is yourself, and the hero part is discovering your passion and purpose in life.
Yeah.
And I've discovered that along my entrepreneurial journey, that my purpose in life is to serve others and help them find their purpose and passion in life. And was one of the elements that I enjoyed the most out of my time in my career. I was good at it. I was sought after within Boeing. Unfortunately, I was traveling half the year around the world, helping governments bring GPS into their flight operations. And so I didn't have a lot of time for it, but it's one of the reasons why I got out of bed every day, was to help people find their purpose and passion. I treated my role more as a life coach than a boss. And if people were open to it, we'd have the important conversations to understand where they want to go and how can I, as their leader, help them achieve that from that standpoint. So I originally had plans to do it on a part-time basis. After 30 years with the Boeing Company, we ended up only being 22, so I moved that timeline to the left and made it a full-time effort to help go generate value to people and small business leaders or owners, as you said, give back to others what was given to me.
Yeah, I mean that's and doesn't that also bring into the aspect of when you start thinking about me, and I, and what can I get? It's kind of like the old Zig Ziglar quote that's attributed to him. When you help enough people in life get what they want, you end up getting what you want. So let's talk about some of the ways that you guide others, business, personal, in your coaching and in your deliverables to them. What is it that you do to help guide them into finding their value?
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer that we learn how to be leaders of others by being a leader for ourselves. And so there's a method to the madness as to why we say life, leadership, small business coach. In that, my method is to go start at that beginning and run through that gamut of those three items in that order to make sure that a small business owner understands self-leadership. What does that entail? What are some strategy, tactics, execution of it to get yourself to where you want to be in your life and on a path of success, joy, and happiness for yourself. And from that experience, and you may fall down off the horse and have to get back up again, but you learn those life lessons on leading yourself to where you want to be, and then you can sort of turn the focus off of yourself and onto others and use all those lessons you learned on yourself to be leaders to others. Leaders make significant impact on people's lives. And so you want to bring your best effort in leading them to enable them to have joy, success, and happiness in their own life, at least in their career, if not more. And then once you have successful leadership style and capabilities in front of you, then you can successfully start dealing with the tactics of a business and create a business for yourself that's going to bring wealth to yourself and your family.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting too, and I think that when you coach your clients, you would attribute this. Yes, you need to be a leader for your organization or your company or whatever you do professionally. But when you start with the personal leadership skills of yourself, your family, now you can be that leader you want to be externally because you're working on the inside. And I think that that's a really big aha moment people need to see, right?
Yeah, and it's a life of learning, right? I'm a firm believer that we're on this earth for a soul journey. Our souls are learning things as we're here. That's why there's the contrast in the world that there is, because it creates an environment for us and our souls to learn lessons to grow. We have to have a mindset and an understanding of that and be willing to be introspective about ourselves to achieve that. But ultimately, you can't find true joy, happiness, and success in your life until you start serving others.
Yes.
And then be open to receive it back. Right? So if you are a true leader and you learn these leadership skills and you see the individuals that are in front of you and you understand that they're investing a precious resource that they have, just like you do, of time and choice to spend it with your organization and with you, and you invest in them, then they're going to reinvest back to you. And together as a team, you're going to go out and be successful in that. But if you don't understand that and have a growth mindset and a life journey of growing and learning and want that for yourself, you've taken ownership of your life to want that for yourself, then you can't turn around and create an environment like that for your teammates, for the people that have made the choice to come work for you.
I've heard this been said many times. Are blank born or built or developed? Like, are entrepreneurs born or can you learn that? Are leaders born or can you learn that? So do you feel like leaders are born leaders, or do you have like that inborn trait and it just needs to be fanned to flames and you can teach it and train it and you can learn to be a better leader? What do you think that way?
I lean towards it's a choice. Some people have it already inherently inside themselves. They've already made the choice at a young age or through their upbringing or whatever. But that doesn't mean if you don't have that in your younger years, you can't cultivate that for yourself. It's a matter of deciding what do you want for your life and are you going to take ownership of that? And if you are, then you're going to take the time of introspection and figuring out how to have that mindset for yourself. What are the messages you're talking to yourself in your mind? And that script is going to change once you've made that choice of, I want to be intentional in my life. I want this for myself. I'm the only one that's going to bring it into my life, and therefore I'm going to take the ownership of the strategy, tactics, and execution of my life strategy to go get it.
Yes. And so when you work with your clients, what are some of the tools or strategies that you bring to them to help them move along down that path?
So we're going to give you a long answer. I believe that business has, by its very nature, has constructs we can use in our life. And the reason behind that is that we as human beings have certain needs. A roof over our head, food in our belly every day, feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves, to be in relationships that are loving, supportive, et cetera, et cetera. Businesses were set up to address needs that are out in the world, whether that's in a business-to-business or a business-to-consumer business model. You are addressing needs or problems that people need a solution for. And because of that, you can use business strategy tools and apply them to your own life to develop that strategy and tactics for yourself to get you where you want to be, and your own definition of what success is in your life. So a quick example is, and I know you're probably very familiar with this, but generally a business strategy conversation starts around a little simple tool called SWOT.
Yeah.
Which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If you take that SWOT tool, which is just a rectangle chopped up in 4 smaller rectangles, and put some bullet items in each category, you change opportunities to love and threats to fear. What you put underneath love is your opportunities for growth, joy, and happiness and success in your life. And your fears are your threats or your disruptors in your life that will stop you from pursuing those and achieving your success. So very simple tool. It's from business. It's a business construct that you can use. Sit down with a cup of coffee, for 2 hours, do that simple little tool and start filling out those boxes. And all of a sudden you have a starting point for development of a life strategy for yourself.
And also, the SW, the strengths and weaknesses, are internal. The opportunities and threats are external. So sometimes people get those confused because I teach marketing for a few universities, and SWOT analysis comes up so many times, and that's the one thing I look for. Oh, hey, you mentioned these opportunities that you put in the opportunities box, but you're talking about internal things. Opportunities are meant to be external, like, the government regulations in whatever industry look like they will be changing in the next 3 years, which gives us the opportunity to, if you're looking personally, what are some external opportunities and external threats that then are going to, impact your internal strengths and weaknesses?
Right. You may be having companies that are in different industries all of a sudden have developed technologies that may come into your industry and be a threat to your business, and therefore they're going to be a bullet underneath threats. Well, okay, what fear do you have in your life that's coming in to be a disruption into your life that's going to stop you from pursuing some of those external opportunities in your life because you feel like you don't deserve it, you don't earn it, you don't have the skills to do it? I could go on a list of 10 different things, but those are the type of things that we start addressing in life coaching to make sure that fears are minimized, the loves are maximized, and you've got a strategy to go pursue your life.
And isn't it true, like when you said, so you have a strategy to pursue your life? So many times people go, oh, yeah, that's one of my goals, but it's like one of those 20-year goals. But if you don't have the 10-year goal and then the 5-year goal, then the 1 year, then the 1 month, and then the 1 week, and all the way back, you don't really have that blueprint of clarity. So it's good. You need to have those goals, but isn't it true that you need to just break it down so granular, not hour by hour, and maybe not even day by day, but you need to know where you stand on a monthly, quarterly basis so that you make sure that you're still pointing in that true north?
Yeah, so, you've heard of people say they have vision boards, and they have a big board with a vision of their end goals, and they throw it up on the wall, and then they don't do those, as you stated, 1 month, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15-year steps to make that vision board a reality for themselves. They just throw it up on the board and wish or hope that reality comes into play in their life in some way without doing the work on how they're going to get themselves there.
Yep. And another thing is, one of the points that you should be asking yourself is, and again, not so granular that, sending this email or, but the typical actions throughout the day and throughout the week. Are these getting me closer to that monthly, quarterly, yearly goal? And is it the highest and best use of my time? Because now that really dials you right back into your value that you're bringing, right?
Yes. And we've been talking mostly about leadership within small business, but when life is a complex topic, and like a diamond, you have different facets or different areas of your life, between your spiritual life, your physical life, your emotional life, your financial life, your relationship life, your religious life, whatever facets you have in your life, and how are you looking at all those areas in your life to help you achieve this big grand goal of joy, happiness, and success in your life. And have you developed strategies in each category?
Where do you find people making the biggest mistakes in that? Because I know that people would think, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then when you dive in and you work with them, it's like, but you're really not.
It's a tendency to compartmentalize things and not realize that there overlaps, interconnects, connections, and it's life is really the business term is system of systems. And we would like to compartmentalize our family life from our business life, from our hobby or friend life, because it simplifies life as a complex thing, when the reality is you can't compartmentalize it. Or if you do, not to the extent that you are doing it, have to realize how all of this is interconnected, and where's your life skill sets and how are you applying it to all of the areas.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it's like, in fact, literally, what was it? Oh, I saw this last kind of funny story. We were watching the season premiere of The Amazing Race, and one of the couples in there was a dating couple. They met on a reality show, and they live in cross country from each other. And they made the comment that, wow, in this stressful circumstance right here, your true colors come out, because we just had this big problem and we had to work through it and solve it. But this never comes up when we're Zoom or talking on the phone, because we're just in our dating life. So in real life, what crops up that really brings out your true character. And so I think that that's something that factors into that, right? Is, who you are in every area of your life. It's not just this one compartment, it's everything.
Yeah. Are you just being an actor in your life? You think you have to be a certain way in a particular category of your life, and therefore you're an actor who's changing clothes and colors and whatnot as you bounce from one role to the other in your life, or are you being authentic through all of it?
So what do you recommend people when they hear this? Okay, value creation. I hear value. It's a word that I know I need to have in my life personally and professionally. Where do they start? What's the first place they should assess, look at, and take that first step?
Well, as we discussed within themselves. So if you want to truly generate value in other people's lives, whether it's your teammates in your business, or in your relationship with your spouse and kids, or with the friends that you have and everything, you need to ask yourselves, what are the needs, right? So what's the needs of my business and my team? What's the needs of the spouse I'm in a relationship with, or my kids? And are you addressing those needs? And by your actions, not your words, but your actions, are you delivering value that addresses those needs in all those various categories? And do you have the skill sets, knowledge, mindsets, and everything to be able to deliver on that value?
And is there like a, I don't know, I think probably when I think of the word tool, it would come right back to what we talked about before, is skill sets, is that SWOT analysis. what are your strengths and weaknesses internally that you have, and be honest about it. And I remember years ago, I heard this and learned this, and it really is struck true. You get advice from a multitude of counselors, but be careful of what counselors you go to, because you and I both know that if I want to get some advice on something, I know my buddies. I know who I can mention something to, and they're going to be, yeah, that's awesome. But I also know someone that I can go to that's going to go, hold on, let's really think about this. So don't just go to the people that are going to go, yep, you're doing good. Go to people that are going to give you some really good, accurate feedback.
Yeah, see, well, you want people that aren't afraid of losing that relationship, right? So your friends really are your friends. They're loyal to you. They're going to tell you a lot of times what you want to hear because they're afraid of losing your friendship.
Yep.
Whereas somebody that you're paying, like myself as a coach or whatever, I would hate to lose you as a customer, but if you're not going after your goals and achieving those goals, then I haven't done my job, which we're doing a fair exchange between time and money to get you there. So I'm not going to be afraid to tell you as it is, because, I'd like to have you as a customer, but if you leave, I'll just go find another one.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good point. Well, Andy, it was really great having you on today and chatting with you. What's the best way that anyone hearing this can learn how to generate their own value and learn more about you and your company?
So I have a podcast available on all the major platforms. I do with my co-host, Zach Levy, who's a business owner. We have episodes that come out every Tuesday. You can visit my website at www.generateyourvalue.com, and I have both personal and business pages on the 4 major platforms of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search on my name or search on Generate Your Value, and you'll find me.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a real pleasure getting to know you.
And a pleasure to get to know you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep generating value in this world.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.